another story from Morrison's. When I worked there, there was this big machine that squashed all the cardboard down into big cardboard bales. And part of my job would be pulling them out of the big heavy machine and putting string around it and wrapping it. It would be on a pallet, and you'd pull it out with the big pallet things. And then you would put another pallet into the machine, restring it so that the string would fall under the cardboard once it'd been made into a brick, and you could tie it up. And I'd been taught this and signed off on it and stuff like that quite quickly when I worked there. And next to it was a plastic version of it, which was a much smaller machine, and had like plastic bags that plastic would get put into and it would compress it. And they were right next to each other, and they had open tops, so you chuck cardboard in the top, and sometimes you'd press it down and stuff like that so that you could chuck more in, so that when the actual press comes down it would be a better deal. And it was quite customary for like the employees back there to sort of like sometimes jump on it, not myself, but yeah, and sometimes the bale would get stuck in there and you'd have to get this big iron winch and put it at the back, and you're going underneath this big heavy plate, so if someone puts it on, you're getting squashed, right? So it's a weird operation. Everyone's kind of like having fun with how dangerous it is. And there's this guy who's not in the grocery department, or I can't remember, but I don't even know if he was new there, but he was there before I was there, because I was quite new. This was maybe during my first month or two working there. The guy is trying to squeeze extra cardboard into the baler from the top. The big doors are closed, and the big weight's like suspended above the whole thing, so there's this gap, and he's putting cardboard in and he's pressing it down and he's punching it. Customary sometimes, like I didn't do it personally, but some people would just like fucking leather the boxes till they were a wee bit broken. And the guy punches the side of the machine and breaks his hand, and turns out this guy wasn't signed off. On the big weight that comes up and down, there's this wee plaque, and it's got all the names on it. My name's there. And because he's broke his hand on this machine and he's not been taught how to use it, he gets a claim against the company, and he walks away with like £10,000 or something. There was a talk after that day about who can and cannot use that thing and why, and because it was explicit, if they went and used it and hurt themselves, it was their fault this time. But because that hadn't been clear, and because I think in fact he'd been told to use it just as, you know, like offhandedly someone says you chuck your shit in there, and he sort of like copied the culture or whatever of how to use it. It was usually it was like all hands on deck in that store. Like, I don't know what it's like in retail for other people, but you would sort of you would take up a lot of jobs before you were trained, and sort of like the training was sort of very tick a check box type of thing. Let's get through this. Most things were like that. Even the chemical training, they're like, fucking read it if you want, or don't. This bit here, this bit here, this bit here, let's put a video on. And then you just sit